Okay. Just checking where my hand is. It seemed like yesterday it worked better or something. The sound was better last time. Yesterday when I replayed it. What's going on? What's going on with you? I'm still weird with my hair. What is this? Not sure what's going on here. Something's not right. Something's missing. Does this need to be like... I don't know. I think I need to turn the light on. And I'm getting some tea too. T2, Terminator 2. Oh, something funny in my mouth. Something just grew in my mouth. Ow. Ow, my eye. Son of a... My water's spilling. I'm having issues today. I ripped my pants this morning. It was not my fault. I ripped my pants this morning. I just couldn't get comfortable anywhere. I've been irritable all day. Someday, I'm taking my shoes off. Someday I will begin a live in a good mood. Sorry, but hair just went in my eye. Not even my own hair. Okay. A piece of hair is right in front of my eye. And I can't find it. Oh, no. Excuse me, I just put this wig on after having it off for an hour or so. Ow, you know when it's like right in your eye? Please don't mind me. Also, my shirt is like a little weird. I just got a new old shirt. Well, I got this shirt at Salvation Army. Oh, please excuse me. I'm trying to find the hair that's hanging out in front of my face. Who's here? I demand you say who you are. That I didn't even turn the light on. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I ripped my pants this morning, but it doesn't really show. I got my tea and I spilled it. I've got jasmine tea with honey. I think I'm gonna clip this back. I'm gonna clip my bangs back so they stop annoying me. Maybe they will stop annoying me. It looks weird though, doesn't it? Like one side looks kind of normal and the other one's like, what? Who cares? I'm so, like, who cares? Well, it feels funny, so I care. I'm gonna do a little twist and a little clip. A little twist. You know, like when you put your makeup on or something and one side looks good, but you just can't get the other side right and it feels funny and it bugs you all day. Yeah, there's something over here that isn't right. So I'm gonna just be annoying for a while until a few more people come, okay? I think I have to turn the chat on. Or is it just on automatically? I don't know. Live chat. Okay. Something's attacking me on this side. This is my bad side. This is my cancer side. This is my stupid liver side. Oh, but my right ear is my good ear, so that's not right. My bobby pin is falling out my head. At some point, I might just whip this thing right off my head. I'll just stick it back there. I got a new shirt. It was, well, a new old shirt at Salvation Army. I went in just to look for some books. Well, the first place I go in any thrift store is to the kids' books to see if I can find any Nancy Drews. I didn't find any, but I found one old Peanuts paperback, a Snoopy one. Hold on, I'll go get it. Hold on. Wait, where did I put it? Did I put it back here? Ouch, my foot. Yes, I did. It's very adorable so far. Look at it. Starts with Charlie Brown feeding him. Aww. You're so cute. Oh, look at where they're hugging. Do you see it? Hugging. He's so cute. I love him. And I got stomp, stomp, stomp. Just keep stomping as hard as you can. I don't mind. I got this shirt and I got another shirt. Summer shirts. Well, I mean, apparently. Hey, look, I'm using a different glass today. This is from some place called Maryland. No, Peter Pan in Urbana, Maryland, 1975. I guess they go together. And Kapok Tree Inn, 1975. Why is it two different places on one glass? Are they affiliated? I don't know, but I like the name Peter Pan Inn. I wonder if it still exists. I got this at a garage sale. I've never been to Peter Pan Inn or Urbana or Maryland. I just thought it was cool, so I got it one time at a garage sale. I have scratches on my legs and I don't know where they came from. I guess I don't need to turn the light on. It's still pretty light out. Guess what I've got? The Moonstone Castle Mystery. How exciting. I started reading it. I don't remember. I might have read the whole thing when I was a kid, but a few years ago, somebody gave me a Kindle. I hate digital reading, so I still have it, but I don't use it. But at first I was like, oh, I'll download all the Nancy Drew books. So I did. And I read a few of them on the Kindle, but I hate it. I just don't like it. I have to read from a real book. You know, you got the paper. It's old. You've got the pictures. It won't run out of batteries. It doesn't hurt my eyes. So I had started to read this one on the Kindle, but I didn't read the whole thing because I was just too annoyed by it. Not the book, but the Kindle. So today I read like 3 pages of it or so. And it's going to be fun. Whenever I get a new book or anything, well, a book, I like to read the chapter titles. You kind of get a feeling sometimes. Such as when I first opened up The Secret in the Old Attic to read it, I looked at all the chapter titles and I was like, ooh, these sound fun, you know? So I will read out the chapters if you want. Chapter 1, Jungle Prisoners. That's the first chapter. Prisoners in a jungle, right at the start of the book? Okay. Chapter 2, Mysterious Threat. Chapter 3, A Strange Inquiry or Inquiry. Chapter 4, Nancy's Impersonation. Chapter 5, The Spooky Drawbridge. That's my favorite title so far. My favorite chapter title. Chapter 6, A Legal Tangle. Chapter 7, The Reckless Pilot. Chapter 8, The Canoeist's Clue. There's going to be some boating in here, I think. Chapter 9, The Vanishing Patient. There's going to be some hospital action in here. Chapter 10, Peter Judd. He's some guy we're going to meet. Chapter 11, The Tower Signaler. Chapter 12, Impending Crash. This one sounds fun. Chapter 13, Bats, with an exclamation point, which reminds me of one of the earlier books that I did. There was a scene where there were some bats, and I had some goofs there. Bats, because I think Hannah shouted out, bats, bats. Chapter 14, The Castle Captive. Chapter 15, An Exciting Photograph. Chapter 16, Reptile Guard. There's going to be a snake in here. Chapter 17, Telltale Tracks. Chapter 18, Worried Plotters. Chapter 19, A Cry for Help. Chapter 20, Wolf's Eye Surprise. Doesn't it sound interesting? Ooh. When I think of castles with drawbridges and moats, I think of dragons. So I think it would be more fun if there was a dragon in here. All right, there's 3 people here. Hello, whoever you are. Shall we begin? Oh, wait a minute. There's a picture at the beginning, but I don't remember if that comes in. That's not a beginning part, so I won't show it to you. Now, I always thought kidnapped had a double P. To me, kidnapped with 1 P looks like kidnaped. Which is the right way to spell it? I would spell it with 2 P's. Is that an old-timey way to spell it? All right, I think it was 1965. Yeah. Is that a 5 or a 3? Oh, it's 1963. Okay. The other day I was blind and I said 1965. It's 1963. Nice. Nancy Drew Mystery Stories, number 40. The Moonstone Castle Mystery by Carolyn Keene. Copyright 1963, Grosset and Dunlap. Chapter 1, Jungle Prisoners. Hurry, open the package, Nancy. 3 girls stood in the hallway of Nancy Drew's home, gazing at a small paper-wrapped box, which had just arrived by mail. There was no sender's name or address on it. Somebody is being very mysterious, commented Bess Marvin, a pretty blonde girl. Yes, agreed attractive Titian-haired Nancy, studying the uneven way the sender had pasted on the letters and numbers of the address. These are cut from a newspaper, and I guess the person was very nervous when he wrapped the package. Well, open it, coaxed the 3rd girl, George Fane, impatiently. She was a dark brunette, very slender and tomboyish. The sender's name is probably inside. Okay, so if I received a package and the address was cut out from and glued from a magazine or a newspaper, and it didn't say who it was from, I wouldn't be like, ooh, let's open it up. I would think maybe someone's trying to bomb me or something. Or there's going to be something that will like jump out at me and try to kill me. Am I right? They're like, open it, open it. This isn't suspicious at all. Strange. Nobody's saying hey, but that's okay. I know you're there. Nancy, prompted by her detective instincts, was careful not to destroy the wrapping. The white carton inside was unmarked. It contained a plain jeweler's ring box. By now, the girls were holding their breath in anticipation. Nancy lifted the lid. "How gorgeous!" Bess exclaimed. Nestled in the groove of the satin-lined case was the finest moonstone Nancy had ever seen. She stared in amazement. "Pretty neat," said George. Then she grinned. "A mystery for you to solve. The case of the unknown admirer." She's lucky it wasn't anthrax or something. Nancy laughed. "Anyhow, you can't tease me that it was Ned. The package was mailed right here in River Heights, and he's at a camp miles from here. Ned Nickerson was a college student who often dated her." Suddenly, Nancy noticed a piece of paper wedged into the bottom of the white carton. She unfolded it quickly, and together the three girls read aloud the message pasted on it from newspaper words. "This is for good luck from a well-wisher. You will need it within the next few weeks." "Nancy, what are you up to?" Bess demanded. "Sounds dangerous." "Until now, I didn't think so," Nancy answered thoughtfully. "Dad is working on a case and has asked me to help him. Girls, let's dash down to the post office and see if we can find out who mailed the moonstone." Oh, right, I have some moonstone. I mean, I don't know what it normally looks like, but I have this chunk of moonstone. I picked a strange piece. It's got a little weird black color here and a little chunky chunk here. I don't know. So who sent the moonstone? Do you like my tea thingy? I've got jasmine tea in here. My old tea spoon holder thingy. And then I have Donald Duck, and I still haven't finished my nails. And these ones are starting to get gross. Excuse me. Let's find out who sent this moonstone. Oh, did you all see the picture that I posted on the community tab? It's actually, oh, it's the next page. There's like a double picture. There's another double picture in here too. I think the older ones had more double pictures, didn't they? Where they go on to 2 pages. I like those. Let's go to the post office and see who mailed the moonstone. She led the way outside and hurried to the garage. Slipping into the driver's seat of her convertible, Nancy backed the car out, and the 3 friends headed for the post office. "Thank you, Edwin." It's taking some getting used to. They had gone only a block when Nancy parked the convertible. "Trouble?" George asked. "No, but I thought it might be more sensible to go on foot. The contents of the well-wisher's note made me think somebody may be shadowing or spying on me. Why don't I go ahead and you girls follow and watch?" "Okay," George agreed, and Bess, who was George's cousin, said, "Be careful. We'll meet you here later." Nancy strode down the sycamore-shaded street at a fast pace. When she reached the business area, she turned onto the avenue where the post office was located. Bess and George were about 100 yards behind. Suddenly, Bess grabbed her cousin's arm. "That man who just crossed the street! He's following Nancy!" "Looks that way." George watched him intently. The man followed Nancy into the post office. When she approached the parcel post window, the stranger stood behind her while she spoke to the post office clerk. "He is spying," Bess declared, as she and George walked from the sidewalk. This picture, it cuts off at a strange part here. It looks like she has no legs. Wouldn't it be cut like this? But it's rounded at the bottom. And it just seems like they've cut off her legs. So there is the guy trailing her. And there's Bess and George. And what's in the back? Is there a guy back there? Yeah. Under the awning. And then we've got the post, the mailbox, and this guy doesn't look too suspicious, does he? I don't know. The man, thin, dark, and wearing a scowling expression, turned and left the building. He went across the street and stood in the doorway of a store. Yeah, I guess he is scowling. Looks like one has only one leg. You mean the guy? Well, one of his legs is, I can't see. I don't know how to point things properly. He looks like he's got a peg leg because it's kind of behind the mailbox. She looks like she's floating with no legs. Anyway, "I think we should warn Nancy," said Bess. George did not agree. "Why don't we follow him?" she suggested. "Then we might find out who he is and what he's up to." "All right." Meanwhile, Nancy had learned nothing helpful about the sender of the mysterious, uninsured package. No one in the post office recalled the person who had handed it in, or had noticed the pasted-on letters for her name and address. She refrained from mentioning the contents. Disappointed, Nancy turned away and started for home. The strange man came from his hiding place and followed. Bess and George brought up the rear. "I don't think he's noticed us," Bess remarked. "But what shall we do when we reach the car?" "Let's worry about that when the time comes," George advised. "If that man was watching the house, he certainly saw us drive out with Nancy. He must have figured we went home. Let him think so." When Nancy came to her convertible, she got in, deftly backed into a driveway to turn around, and headed for home. The man sprinted up the street to keep her in sight. Bess and George ran too. As Nancy turned into the circular driveway of her home, the stranger paused. He stood very still, his head lowered, as if he were trying to decide what to do. So, wait a minute. There's only one car, right? Nancy's the only one in the car right now. Everyone else is on foot. So Nancy's house and the post office are like right next to each other. Or they just walked. She drove really slow. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm confused already. What's new? This guy is obviously a bad character, a bad guy, you know? Oh, it looks like one of the girls only has. Oh my goodness. Oh, right. If you see right in the back, you can see her foot there. So her legs are like aligned, but if you don't notice that right away, it does look like Bess only has one leg. Very observant. I lost my space, my place. Oh yeah. She's back in her driveway. Bess and George had stopped also. Suddenly, the man turned in their direction. You must have recognized them because he started to run, heading in the opposite direction. Come on, George urged her cousin. At the corner, the stranger held up his right hand to signal a bus. Before the girls could reach him, he had jumped aboard and the bus was rumbling down the avenue. Hypers, George. She's saying it in disgust. Hypers, George cried in disgust. And we were so close. I'm not sure how to cry hypers in disgust. Usually it's like just surprise, you know? Hypers. And we were so close. The cousins, ooh, should we do a hypers count? That was the first hypers of the book. Okay, somebody write that down because I'll forget. The cousins hurried back to the Drew home. When Nancy heard the story, she dashed to the telephone and called her friend, Police Chief McGinnis. I'll tell you the whole story in a minute, but first, could you try to locate a man who was on the bus to Granby and find out who he is? He's wearing a tan and brown plaid suit, is thin and scowls. He's been shadowing me. I guess he never changes his expression because she said he scowls. Isn't that a funny descriptor, though? He scowls. Maybe say his hair color. Well, he has a hat on, but he scowls. He never stops scowling. Yes, indeed, Nancy. Hold the wire. The chief was gone nearly a minute, then came back. Now tell me the whole story. Nancy started with the mysterious Moonstone gift and ended with the man's running away suspiciously. She could hear Chief McGinnis muttering under his breath. That dang Nancy Drew. She's doing more work than we are at the police station. Damn Nancy Drew. Showing us up at every opportunity. Aloud, he said, I'm glad you told me, Nancy. Something's afoot, that's for sure. Watch your step. I'll call you as soon as I have some word. Bumbling Chief McGinnis. As the girls sat waiting, Nancy said, Would you like to hear about the case Dad's working on? I can tell you because it's no secret. But I'm sure it's a mystery, said Bess, her eyes twinkling with interest. Yes, and a strange one. Jungle prisoners in Africa and a baffling disappearance in the United States. George, who was seated cross-legged on the floor of the Drews' cheery living room, urged, Go on. Nancy, her face tense, said, 15 years ago, a Mr. and Mrs. Bowen accepted a call as missionaries to a part of Africa where the tribes were restless and always at war among themselves. The Bowens had been there only 3 months when they were kidnapped by a hostile band and not released until recently. Oh, how cruel, exclaimed Bess, who was seated beside Nancy on a green and gray striped sofa. How did your father come into the picture? Mr. and Mrs. Bowen returned to this country a few weeks ago. They went directly to the town of Deep River in Deep River Valley, where they had left their 2.5-year-old grandchild, Joan, called Joni, with her grandmother, Horton. The little girl's own parents had died shortly before the Bowens went to Africa. Nancy leaned to the side and pulled open a drawer in the end table by the sofa. She took out a photograph of a little girl. "She's darling," Bess exclaimed. "Don't tell me something happened to her." "I'm afraid it did," Nancy replied. "Grandmother Horton died 6 months after the Bowens left. There were no other relatives, and the child disappeared." "Disappeared?" George repeated incredulously. "It's even worse than that," Nancy went on. "Nobody in Deep River ever saw or heard of the child. Her grandmother Horton, who lived on the outskirts, never came to town after Joni arrived. It is assumed the woman wasn't well." "Maybe Joni died too," Bess suggested. "There's no record of her death. Besides, in her will, Grandmother Horton left her estate to Joni. The estate was settled, but so far Dad hasn't found any record of a guardian or learned one thing about the child's whereabouts." Bess gazed at Joni's photograph. "The poor little girl. I certainly hope she's alive and the Bowens can find her." George rocked back and forth, holding her knees. "Joni would be 17 or 18 now. Pretty hard to recognize her from this picture. By the way, didn't your father talk to Grandmother Horton's lawyer?" "Dad says he's away on an extensive vacation and can't be reached. I didn't even learn his name. Many other people who might have been helpful have either died or moved away from Deep River." "Weren't there any servants?" George asked. "Yes, Mrs. Horton had a couple, but they disappeared at the time of her death." "How did your dad happen to get the case?" Bess queried. "Someone the Bowens knew suggested him. They're heartbroken over the whole thing, of course, and naturally want the mystery solved." Nancy suddenly looked out the window. "Here comes Dad now." And with that, I'm going to drink. Oh my goodness. Bottoms up. Hello. Where's all this water coming from? I don't understand. Where's the water coming from? It's a mystery. Gotta call the Hardy Boys. Ooh, exciting. So we're getting to the meat of the mystery. Oh, Dad's home. The lawyer drove his car into the garage. When Nancy's tall, handsome father came into the living room, he kissed Nancy, then said, "Hello, Bess, George. I'm glad you girls are here because I have a proposal to make." They're going to go somewhere. They're all going to go somewhere. I wonder where they're going to go. The three friends were all attention as he continued. "Nancy, I've picked up a good clue in the Horton case from a retired luggage dealer. Some 14 years ago, a Joan Horton went from Deep River to San Francisco. I want to track her down if possible. But in the meantime, my investigation in Deep River to clear up the business about the missing child should be continued. Would you like to make the trip? provided Bess and George can go with you." As Nancy's eyes sparkled in anticipation, Bess squealed, "Oh, Mr. Drew! Oh, Mr. Drew! You mean it? This sounds simply marvelous." That was my squealing. "And exciting," George added. "I'd love to go. May I call up Mother and Dad right now?" "Please do, and tell them this is a business trip. All your expenses will be paid by the Carson Drew law firm." He turned to his daughter. "Nancy, you haven't answered my question." With a chuckle, Nancy said, "Stop teasing, Dad. Have I ever turned down a case?" George received permission to go. Then Bess called her house. Mrs. Marvin said her daughter might accompany Nancy, and added that if Mr. Drew had not already chosen a place for them to stay, she would recommend the Longview Motel on top of the hill overlooking Deep River and the valley. "It's delightful. Mrs. Thompson, who runs it, is charming and can give you girls some motherly attention if you need it." Sorry, I'm just rereading this. And added that if Mr. Drew had not already, okay. So Mrs. Marvin knows Deep River for some reason. Condensation? It seems like too much condensation. It was like a pool. Bess reported her mother's suggestion to the lawyer, who smiled. "It sounds like the perfect place for you girls. Could you be ready to leave tomorrow morning?" "Hi." We're just we just learned what the new mystery is about. And the girls, Bess and George, just got permission to go along with Nancy. At the law firm's expense. I feel like my hair's falling off or something. And Bess's mother knows the place they're going to, and she suggested where they should stay. They're going to have a house mother. "It sounds like the perfect place for you girls. Could you be ready to leave tomorrow morning?" "Yes," the trio chorused eagerly, and Bess and George hurried off to start packing. Nancy brought the Moonstone, the warning note, and the strangely addressed wrapper to her father, who studied them all carefully. "I gather these letters were cut out of a River Heights newspaper. They match the print, so there's no clue as to whether the sender is a local person or someone who came here and bought a paper." I don't know if that was Mr. Drew or Nancy talking. I did it as Mr. Drew, but I think it was actually Nancy. Whoops. Mr. Drew was as puzzled as Nancy and could see no connection between the Moonstone and the case on which he was working. You know there's a connection. "It's possible," this time it is Mr. Drew, "it's possible that some eavesdropper heard me discussing the Horton mystery the other day and is trying to get some message across to you, Nancy," the lawyer said. "Keep alert to anything to do with moonstones." At that moment, the telephone rang. Mr. Drew answered it while Nancy waited. Presently, he returned to say that Chief McGinnis had called. The man who had followed Nancy, then suddenly hopped a bus, had alighted before the police had a chance to intercept it. Of course. Nancy was pensive. "I wonder if he's still in River Heights. If so, he may come here again." "I thought of that," Mr. Drew said. "So I asked the chief to send a man over to watch the house tonight." Nancy spent most of the evening in her room, packing for the trip to Deep River. She went to bed early and soon fell asleep, but around midnight was awakened by shouts of, "Stop! Stop!" Hey, we haven't met Hannah yet. The young sleuth jumped out of bed and ran to a window. Just then the sound of a shot rang out through the still night. Nancy pulled on her robe and slippers. She dashed to her father's room. To her astonishment, the door was open and he was not there. With a quaking heart, Nancy flew down the front stairway, calling, "Dad! Dad!" There was no answer. End of chapter 1. Oh my goodness. Well, where's Hannah, for crying out loud? I'm starting to get a toe cramp. Oh gosh. So that was exciting. How many of you have read this book and remember it? And will also remember no spoilers. I'm sleepy. Hey, what time is it? I learned how to put the phone so that you don't have to see my finger all the time. I wasn't looking. It's only 6:15. 1 down, 19 to go. Who's been shot? I wonder what that guy's name is. James, our friend James Olchak, says that his name is Waffles O'Toole, but I think he was just kidding. He said this guy is named Waffles O'Toole. Is that true? Would you like to see it's my aunt's birthday soon, and I didn't make this. Whoops. I didn't make this specifically for her. It's just something that I've had for a few years. But she loves the color pink. So I'm going to finish this up. It's a cross stitch and give it to her for her birthday. Her name is Elizabeth. So I'm going to embroider her name somewhere on it and finish it up and do something nice to there's still some sticker on the hoop. Make the, maybe try to make the hoop look kind of aged or something, or maybe stain it a darker color with what? I don't know. I don't have any stain. It's pretty cute, huh? I like cross stitch, but I need better lighting. I remember the cover. Yeah, with a lot of the Nancy Drew books, well, books in general, I remember the cover more than anything. It's a rose. It's also a fan. I forgot my fan. I didn't think I would need it because it's kind of rainy and dark today, but it's still hot. I almost choked. I have a tiny throat. I don't know why. I'm just tiny. So let's look at the cover. George is in a red dress. Nancy is in a yellow dress. And Bess is in a blue dress. Bess has blue shoes. Nancy appears to have kind of black shoes. And George's shoes, they look kind of green. At first it looks like she's barefoot, but I think it's kind of, she's got green shoes on. And there's the castle, the Moonstone Castle. And it looks like it's around sunset, and the trees are pretty. The drawbridge is going up or down. I don't know. Oh, remember the crooked banister? There was like, was it a drawbridge they had there? Or like a bridge with a, under the bridge was on fire, remember? And they had to walk across the fire. You remember. I'm going to check how long chapter 2 is because okay, we're going to do one more chapter because I really want to find out what is going on and if this guy's name is Waffles O'Toole. First, I'm going to look at my hair and play with it. What should I do with it? I'm not good at making braids and different hairstyles in general, but I really want to do milkmaid braids. You know, where you do a braid on this side and a braid on this side, and then they kind of like go into a crown up top. You know what I mean? I need scrunchies. When I was eating earlier, I was like, my hair's going everywhere, and I don't have any scrunchies. All I have is some bobby pins, some little hair ties like this, which are cheap and lose their elasticity really fast. Everyone is so not talkative. You just want to listen to me? Why? It's really interesting to have long hair. Hi, Digby. Hi, everyone. So let's start chapter 2. Chapter 2, Mysterious Threat. As Nancy reached the bottom of the stairway, the front door burst open and her father rushed in. He went straight to the telephone in the hall and dialed a number. Nancy stood stock still, thankful that her father was all right, but wondering what had happened outside. In a moment, he said, "Sergeant, this is Carson Drew speaking. I have a message from your man Donnelly. Donnelly has been watching our house tonight. He almost caught a prowler and has gone after him in a car. Donnelly can't radio in because his set is out of order." Mr. Drew went on to say that the intruder had gone off in a car. "Here's his license number." He gave it slowly so the sergeant could write it down. When the lawyer hung up, he looked at Nancy, who still stood at the foot of the stairway. "Dad, what happened?" she asked tensely. "I heard a shot." Before answering, Mr. Drew grinned broadly. "And you thought your old dad had met his end, eh?" he teased. As a matter of fact, that shot had nothing to do with the prowler. Detective Donnelly... Oh, I thought that was the end of the sentence. As a matter of fact, that shot had nothing to do with the prowler, Detective Donnelly, or the getaway. Somebody was having trouble with an old jalopy on the side street. It backfired just as the intruder took off, and Donnelly yelled, "Stop!" Nancy heaved a sigh of relief. "I'm glad nobody was shot. Please tell me the rest of the story." "Let's go into the kitchen and get something to eat," Mr. Drew suggested. Where the heck is Hannah? "That's what brought me downstairs in the first place. I wasn't sleeping and got so hungry I came down for a midnight snack. As I reached the hall, I saw a shadowy figure sneak past the living room window. There's always so many sinister things happening in the Drew house. Ugh. I went to look and was just in time to see Donnelly start chasing the prowler. I caught a glimpse of the man under a streetlight before he jumped into a car. "What did he look like?" Nancy asked. Mr. Drew said the stranger was thin, dark-haired, and had a scowling expression. "Oh, he might be the same one who was following me. The one that Bess and George saw," Nancy exclaimed. "He probably was," the lawyer agreed. "I wonder what he was doing around here." "Perhaps trying to steal the moonstone that was sent to me," Nancy guessed. "That might be," Mr. Drew agreed. "One thing is sure, He wasn't planning to eavesdrop on us because we were in bed. I think tea or coffee will stain stuff pretty well. I'm eating. Oh, wow. Wait, what about coffee and tea? Oh, you're talking about the embroidery hoop? Yeah, I mean, I've used it for fabric and stuff. Oh, so I could like make a pan of tea and stick the embroidery hoop in it and just let it sit there. Good idea. I have tea, I have hot water, and I have a pan. Now I have a plan. Oh, okay. I just saw the name Hannah Gruen. One thing is sure, he wasn't planning to eavesdrop on us because we were in bed. Doesn't that seem like it? During this conversation, Nancy quickly prepared 2 cups of hot cocoa. Then she brought out some delicious angel cake, which their housekeeper, Hannah Gruen, had made. Father and daughter sat down to enjoy the snack and to wait for a report from police headquarters. When half an hour had gone by and no message had come, Nancy asked her father if he would mind calling the police. You do it, he suggested, giving a big yawn. I admit I'd like to get some sleep. But without knowing whether or not that prowler has been captured, I doubt that I can doze off. Nancy hurried to the phone. The report was disappointing. Detective Donnelly had reported to headquarters from a payphone that the prowler had abandoned his car and fled into the woods. There was no chance of finding him in the dark. Searchlights. It's not that important. It's not like he's murdered someone or something or kidnapped somebody, right? Maybe he's going to steal a moonstone. Donnelly is returning to your house, the sergeant went on. It's possible that the suspect may double back. Incidentally, the car he was in was reported stolen today, so we have no clues to his identity. Nancy relayed the message to her father, and the two started upstairs. I suppose I should tell you a little bit more about the Horton case, the lawyer said. Just this afternoon, I received a message from a woman in Deep River whom I have been trying to contact. She was a college friend of Mrs. Horton's who had been out of touch with her for 10 years. In fact, until just before Mrs. Horton's death. This Mrs. Emery remembers she phoned the Horton house to talk to her friend about a class reunion. A man answered but did not give his name. He said that Mrs. Horton was too ill to come to the phone. However, he did say he and his wife, employed there as servants, were leaving shortly for San Francisco. And that, said Nancy, is where you found out that a Joan Horton went. They probably took her. Right. Mr. Drew went on to say that he had been to call on the present owners of the Horton property. They are very nice and wanted to be helpful, but knew little about what had taken place at the house. They had bought the property through a realtor after the former occupants moved out of town. They did give me one clue, though. Soon after they had moved in, they had come upon a postcard dropped behind some old junk in the attic. It was addressed and mailed in New York 18 years before to a Mr. and Mrs. Ben Oman. Oh man. What? Sorry. Oh, I hurt a little when I laugh. Oh man. It's not funny. OMAN. And I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. Don't mind me. Now I have to say that name over and over again. Oh man. The postcard was addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Ben Oman in San Francisco. It was signed Claire. And you think that, oh man. Oh, I apologize. This is like when I'm doing goofs and I can't stop laughing. This is what happens. But now I'm live. It's scarier. And you and you think that Oman might have been the name of Grandma Horton's servants? Grandma. All of a sudden she's calling her grandma. Okay. And you think that Oman might have been the name of Grandma Horton's servants? Nancy asked. Yes, I do, her father replied. Anyway, I think all these clues in San Francisco are worth investigating. He ushered Nancy ahead of him and began to turn out the lights. His daughter stopped and smiled at him. Are you sure there will be anything left for me to do in Deep River? She teased. Plenty, he assured her. And what's more, my dear, I like your fantastic intuition when you're working on a case. The two said goodnight for the second time and soon were asleep. The following morning, Nancy drove her father to the airport to catch an early plane to the West Coast. Upon her return, she found Bess and George at her home with their luggage. So where is Deep River? It sounds like somewhere in the south, like with swamps and alligators or something. Crocodiles? Amos Moses? Who knows the song Amos Moses? Raise your hand. Was it alligators or crocodiles? Okay, the Nancy Drew book is Crocodile Island, right? But the song Amos Moses, is it crocodiles or alligators? I don't know. I'm digressing. Bess said with a broad smile, which revealed her dimples, I brought a swimsuit, a tennis racket, and hiking shoes. We're going to have some fun up in Deep River Valley, as well as sleuthing, aren't we? Hannah Gruen, the pleasant, motherly woman who had taken care of Nancy since the death of her mother when Nancy was only 3 years old, thought it an excellent idea. If you can make people think you're there on vacation, it probably will be advisable. Nancy was thoughtful. I'm wondering if I should take the Moonstone, she said. At once, Bess spoke up. Please do. It's supposed to bring you good luck, and when you're solving mysteries, you can use it. Luck certainly wouldn't hurt, Mrs. Gruen remarked. Okay, so this is good luck. I want to be able to say, oh man, without laughing. Help me, Moonstone. George was inclined to consider the whole matter superstitious. But if you want to take the Moonstone just to look at because it's beautiful, okay. That's why I choose certain things, crystals and rocks and things, just because they're pretty. The others laughed, and Nancy went to get the mysterious gift, which she put into her purse. Do we get to see the Moonstone ever? I would like to see the Moonstone. I hope so. Everybody ready? She asked. If so, let's go. Her own suitcases were already in the car. Those belonging to Bess and George were carried out and stowed in the luggage compartment. Goodbye, Hannah, dear, said Nancy, hugging the housekeeper. Take care of yourself. Same to you, Nancy. The three girls stepped into the car. Before Nancy could turn on the ignition, the telephone in the Drew home rang. She waited while Hannah answered it. A few moments later, the housekeeper came running outside, waving her arms. Nancy! Nancy, wait! There's a phone call for your father, but the man says he'll talk to you. It's urgent. Quickly, Nancy jumped from the car and ran inside to the phone. The caller was Mr. Bowen. I just have to read a little to see what he sounds like. Excuse me. Oh, Miss Drew, he said, his voice betraying nervousness. That means he's nervous, and we can tell, right? Okay. Oh, Miss Drew, he said, his voice betraying nervousness. I've just received a threatening phone call from a man. He said that if anyone dared to try solving the mystery of our grandchild, he would be walking into great danger. Nancy was amazed, but realized that some person or persons involved in the case must be extremely afraid of being investigated. Your father phoned me last night that you and some friends are going to Deep River to look for clues to the mystery, Mr. Bowen went on. After the threat I've been given, probably would be unwise for you to go. Please, Nancy, stay home. The young sleuth, by this time, had made up her mind what to do. No, Mr. Bowen, she said. I'm not going to let anybody scare me off this case. I promise you I'll be careful, though, and not let myself be trapped. We'll see about that. Mr. Bowen said he admired her courage, but pleaded with her to heed the mysterious warning. I'll keep it in mind. I was like, please don't come. Heed the warning. I'll keep it in mind. I'll keep it in mind, Nancy promised. She returned to the car. She's like, is that what being facetious is? Like, she's not going to keep it in mind, ever. Is that being facetious? I don't know. She returned to the car and told the others about the phone call. I do have the giggles. Because, well, I guess it started with, oh man. She returned to the car and told the others about the phone call. Before either of the girls had a chance to be influenced by Mr. Bowen's advice not to make the trip, Nancy kissed Hannah again, slid behind the wheel, and waved a cheery goodbye. Nancy's in charge here. Mrs. Gruen stood gazing after the girls, shaking her head as if to say, nobody can threaten Nancy Drew and get away with it. It worries me, but I admire her courage. Late in the afternoon, the girls reached Deep River, a small but bustling town. They easily located the winding road which led up the mountainside to the Longview Motel. I want to see it. What a gorgeous view, Bess exclaimed when they reached the top. You can see for miles up and down the valley. Yes, said Nancy, and as soon as we unpack some of our things, I want to take a good look at it. The travelers found the owner, Mrs. Thompson, to be a delightful woman about 35 years old. The motel itself was charming and had a home-like atmosphere. The girls were shown to one large room with 3 beds in it. I hope you'll be comfortable, Mrs. Thompson said. There's anything you want, just let me know. She left the room. All I want right now is to stretch my legs, said George, who began to do some calisthenics before unpacking. Oh, Lord. Here we go with Jane Fonda. Woo. I wonder how long the drive was. I guess it's not in the deep south. I don't know. It sounded like it would be. In a short time, the girls had hung up their dresses and put away their other clothes and toiletries in the pine bureaus. Nancy put the Moonstone in its little satin-lined case in an evening bag and hid it under a couple of scarves in one drawer. Sounds safe enough. She picked up the binoculars she had brought and asked the others if they were ready to walk around the terrace and see the view of Deep River Valley. Sure thing, said George. As Nancy locked their door, Bess and George began to walk around the grounds. They were delighted to see 2 tennis courts and a swimming pool. Nancy, meanwhile, walked to the edge of the terrace from which the ground fell away sharply. She raised the binoculars to her eyes and viewed the valley and town below. I wonder where the Horton house is, she thought, not seeing one which fitted the description her father had given. Suddenly, Nancy noticed that a thunderstorm was brewing. For a few moments, she watched the scudding black clouds. Then, as she swept the binoculars downward toward the river, she focused directly on an unusual sight. A castle, Nancy murmured to herself. The building stood on an island. It was 2 stories high and had a turret at one end. Around 3 sides was a dry moat with a drawbridge, which was up and formed part of the castle wall. When Bess and George joined her, they took turns using the binoculars so that they too might view the castle. How absolutely fascinating, Bess exclaimed. To think of a real castle way out there. I suppose the moat was once filled with water that came from the river, George commented. While we're here, let's go down and see it at close range. Nancy nodded agreement. Taking the glasses again, she studied the building and grounds, then said, the surroundings look pretty wild. I wonder if anyone lives there. Oh my gosh, we're going to go look at a castle. The 3 girls were so intent on the view that they had not noticed that the storm clouds were coming closer. A strong gust of wind suddenly blew their skirts. It's going to rain, said Bess. We'd better go inside. As they started back, the girls passed a huge oak tree. At that instant, a bolt of lightning ran down one side of the trunk. A terrific cracking noise followed. The ground vibrated, giving Nancy and her friends a tingling sensation. The tree's gonna fall! Ooh, I didn't like that. Delete and redo that. Well, Bess is screaming, and I can't scream. I'd really like to scream. The tree's gonna fall! Bess screamed. That's the best I can do. End of chapter 2. The tree's gonna fall! Look out, everyone. Ooh. Thunderstorms, castles. Ooh. We haven't even seen the tea room yet. Yes, this is so much more fun to read as a book, a real book. Do we ever get to see the Moonstone? Ooh, sorry. I want to see what the next picture is. I'm not going to show you. Ooh. The next picture is of the castle. Your best has changed a bit since you read Broken Locket. Yeah. Well, everything changed. How did Bess change? I mean, I know everything's changed, but how has she changed? Tell me. Please, please tell me. In a good way? This is how much we've read so far. "1963. Oh boy, you read her more like the other two. Now she has very much her own voice. Right. I try to make her kind of like, not ditzy, but kind of high pitched, very girly, and kind of, I don't want to use the word ditzy, but kind of maybe a little flighty, a little goofy, but always very nice. I like Bess. And George is more like, yo. When she said hypers, it says hypers, George cried in disgust. Well, to me, hypers is like an exclamation of surprise more. So how do you say hypers in disgust? Just doesn't work for me. I'm going to pretend I'm seeing something gross. What's disgusting? What's something disgusting? Ew. Hypers. Hypers. I don't understand how I can say hypers in disgust. I broke one of my nails yesterday. This one. Sorry. It got caught in my wig. A t-shirt with hypers on it. Yes. Hypers. Or maybe I can do a cross stitch that says hypers. Oh, well, I have to look up some embroidery alphabets and stuff so I can put my aunt's name on the cross stitch. Elizabeth. Oh, that's going to take forever. She has a long name. I'll just put Liz on it. No, I'm going to put her full name, Elizabeth. That'll be much nicer. No, I still haven't done it. Yeah, I want to do more cross stitch and embroidery, but I don't have good light, and I need like a monocle. Here are some of my colors. Here's some of my embroidery floss. Cool name. That was my grandmother's name and is my daughter's middle name. Cool. Yeah, I love the name Elizabeth. Auntie Liz. What other books do I have out? Oh, well, Secret in the Old Attic I have out, and I have The Clue of the Broken Locket out. Speaking of the way I used to read Bess, because I think I told some of you I'm doing and I think I shared her video. I'm doing a collaboration with another with Anna from well, she has her own YouTube channel and also reads Nancy Drew books. She's doing The Hidden Staircase right now. But she suggested we do a collaboration, and we decided we would read a book together. I read a chapter, she reads a chapter, and then when we're all finished, we're gonna, upload it all at the same time, so you can listen to the whole book at the same time. I'm going to be starting with chapter 1. Actually, I've already recorded 3 chapters. It's going to take a while it's going to be a while before it's up, but Yes, that's why I have this out. I accidentally read the wrong chapter because I'm reading the odd chapters. So I'm reading chapter 1, chapter 3, chapter 5, chapter 7. And I had put my bookmark at the beginning of chapter 4, and I recorded almost all of chapter 4. And then I realized, wait, I'm not supposed to be doing this chapter. I was wondering if you had ever pondered re-recording some of your... Oh, not at the moment, only because, I mean, there's so many more that I have to do already, you know? Yeah, there's so many more to do that I haven't thought of that. But I thought it would be fun to reread this one. So I'm reading half of this one again. So that's going to be really fun when we upload a whole book at once for you to read. If you're not already subscribed to Anna, I will put the link in this description of this live video, and well, I'll share it somehow so you can go subscribe to her too. It is fun. It's taking us a while only because we both have other things going on, so it's like taking forever, but it'll be finished eventually. So that's going to be very, very fun. And then after we finish Secret in the Old Attic, we're doing the original Hidden Staircase. I'm excited for that. And then after the original Hidden Staircase, we're reading the non-original Hidden Staircase, the revised one. I can't stop playing with my hair. It must be really annoying. See, when I do milkmaid braids, it's going to be so cute, but I have to get all kinds of pins and things because I don't want it to fall down. I want to be able to like shake it all about and be in the wind and not have it fall down. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? So Moonstone, I'm going to look that up and see what it's, you know, how crystals and things are supposed to have, you know, like George was saying, that's superstition. Such as rose quartz is like supposed to help in love and all that. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see how different the original is to the rewrite. Yeah, I started reading it just like the first chapter, and it's really fun. Oh, I did cut the bangs. Yep, they've been cut once. I'm afraid of cutting them too much. I mean, I cut them a little. They're not as long as they were. But they're still incredibly annoying. And I realize, like, I think bangs in general are annoying, whether they're fake bangs like this or they're actually growing out of my head. I don't like things on my face. I hope it rains tonight. I wish it would rain while I'm not outside. I wonder, wait, what just happened at the end? I've forgotten already. I forgot both chapters already. Is that a doggy? Yeah, a little black doggy. He's cute. Okay, no spoilers, but I just saw something at the beginning of chapter 3, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to come back. He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodle car. Oh yeah, tree's gonna fall. Lightning, hello. Someone once asked Dolly Parton how long it took to do her hair, and she said she had no idea. She was never in the same room when they did it. I love Dolly Parton. When I was little, one of my favorite shows was Captain Kangaroo. And I found some old Captain Kangaroo episodes on YouTube, and there's one with Dolly Parton. It's great. So what was I going to show? Oh, right. Forget about Amos Moses. Forget about the Moonstone. Right. I have to share Anna's channel with you in case you're not subscribed, okay? You promise me if you're not subscribed to Anna, you'll go and subscribe to her, okay? Hey, we should finish, or we should start the Robert Frost poem that we started reading yesterday, like not at the beginning of the poem. And we were I was very confused. I had no idea what was going on. Then we read an intro to the poem and explained what things were. And now it's all starting to make sense, and I'm starting to understand Robert Frost, because I do not understand Robert Frost poems. Or actually, I don't know if I can handle Robert Frost right now. My brain's kind of fried. Would you like me to read one Great Uncle Frank poem? Okay. Let's do it. Don't look, I ripped my pants. How's this? Okay. 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 I'm just going to grab this. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, well. This isn't the one I wanted. Did anyone say anything while I was gone? Whoa, it got really bright. Do you like the light off or on? Should I turn it off? Light off or on? I'm turning it off. Oh my gosh. I can't handle it. Turn on my lamp. Turn on my lamp, okay? I want to try another filter. Okay, since I'm going to be reading a really old poem, I'm going to put on a black and white filter. We'll try to find a vintage filter, okay? Dance party. No. No. Documentary. No. Ooh, silver screen. This looks kind of like a spooky movie one. Haunt. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Do you like this one? Wait a minute. I heard bangs that only cover one eye is a bang. It's some kind of Illuminati thing. Don't do it. Silver screen works for an old poem. Okay. It's Illuminati stuff. Don't do it. Oops. If I press the X, I heard bangs that only cover one eye is a bang. Oh, I get it. It's like singular. Okay, let's try to find one I can understand. I wanted to read something from another. Okay, I can do this. I feel like this one's winter. I don't want to do a wintry one. I don't know how to say some of these words. I'll have this. I didn't do this, but there's so much damage to this book. I didn't do it. It wasn't stored well. It wasn't stored properly. A Lincolnshire maiden. These are a bit too European for me. I'm getting another book. Don't worry. It's still Guff. It's still going to be... Oh! I almost fell over my stupid shoe. Where is it? Where is it? What is it? Okay, we're going to take one from here instead. Sonnets for the Ryerson Poetry Chapbooks. Sonnets for Youth by Frank Oliver Call. Oh yeah. This is one that you have to unfold. Oh man. This one's called Philosophy. I don't like philosophy. Skeptic. Okay. Optimist. There are words in here I can't say. Well, let's do it anyway, because the Robert Frost poem, Blueberries, I didn't know some words either. But then the guy explained what they meant. There's no guy here to explain these words, but I'm going to read it anyway. I'm going to put my glasses on because it's tiny print. Whoa, everything just got really clear. I don't like it. Things got a little too real in here. I'm just going to read it because I'm not good at reading poems and sounding all poetic. Optimist. You watch, your dark eyes wide in youthful wonder, life's tragic comedy, and ponder why the lives and loves of men are torn asunder, and beauty only dawns to fade and die. For you the road is never steep or dreary that leads the tired wanderer to his rest. Old feet go journeying homeward, slow and weary, but yours are set to climb the mountain's crest. Your smooth face fades, I see as in a glass, weary and old and mumbling as they go. Faust, Omar, I don't know how to say this guy's name. Faust, Omar, Khayyam. God, Khayyam. Omar, I'm just going to call him Omar K. Faust, Omar K. Houseman Hardy Pass. Then through the dark I see your young eyes glow, reflecting all the glory yet to be, like dawning stars above a storm-swept sea. Khayyam, Omar Khayyam. Sounds right to me. Should I read the whole thing over again? Because I had to screw it up where I did. Well, your smooth face fades, I see as in a glass. Weary and old and mumbling as they go. Faust, Omar Khayyam, Houseman Hardy Pass. Not the Hardy Boys. Thomas Hardy? Then through the dark I see your young eyes glow, reflecting all the glory yet to be, like dawning stars above a storm-swept sea. That was called Optimist. Now let us turn to 2022. Oh, where were we? We were back in, we were back in 1944. We were back in 1944 there. I'm just looking at the list of other Ryerson poetry chapbooks. So that was nice. It made sense. I don't know who all those guys are. Faust, I've heard of that guy. I don't know who Omar Khayyam is. And the Hardy guy is not Frank or Joe. I think his name's Thomas Hardy. Was he a writer? It's time to take my wig off. Put the filter off. Normal. Khayyam. Pessimists always get pleasant surprises. Optimists only get unpleasant ones. I try to be an optimist. This glass is half full to me. All right. This is an hour and 30 minutes. Whoop. Let's take off together, shall we? It's going to feel real good. Oh, I'm freezing now. Look at my pretty, pretty ginger hair. Pretty, pretty. You can see through it. If I hold it up to the light, you can see through it. But when it's on my head, you don't see it. That there's holes in there. See, I put my hand back there. You don't see it. Isn't it pretty? Ooh, I'm so impressed. I can't get over how impressive this one is. I mean, I'm not a wig person in general. I don't know too much about wigs. I don't have a lot to compare it to, just my human hair wig. And compared to my human hair wig, this is like the crown jewel. So, Khayyam. Oh, yeah, you said that before and it just came up again. Oh, Faust made the deal with the devil. Khayyam, or however you say it, was an ancient mathematician. That's why I hate math. And Thomas Hardy was a writer, okay? I don't know what he wrote, but I know that in Uncle Frank's books, in all the shelves, there's some Hardy. All right, stop playing with your hair, damn it. I'm going to put my hair on the wall. I'm going to put my scalp on the wall here. Please don't fall. Last thing I need is for you to fall on the floor. Okay. There. So I hope everyone enjoyed the first 2 chapters of this. I can't wait to see what happens because I don't remember. Be nice. My grandfather was a mathematician. Oh, I don't dislike mathematicians. I dislike math. I am very impressed by people who understand science and math. And I'm glad there are people who can do it for me. All right, so, oh my gosh, I really don't like looking at this head. I find it creepier now that it's, it creeps me out. It creeps me out. I feel like a weirdie. The only math I'm good at is percentages. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at any math. I count on my fingers. It's 10 and I have to wake up. This is just an example. It's 10 and I have to wake up at 7. 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. All right, I got to eat some noodles. have a great weekend, everybody. And I'm not sure when we'll be back for the next ones. As you all know, I don't schedule things. I just kind of come on. All right. So good night or good morning or good whatever, wherever you are. Bye. Bye. I won't forget to link what's her name? Anna. Bye. Good night.